Good evening, my friend. Now there's kids playing and screaming outside, which is a good time to record. And it's quite interesting. I heard someone said, spend time in every day to do nothing, and you will get better at it. And it's quite interesting because how is inaction going to make us better, right? I thought chasing or achieving, having goal and all that stuff, it's supposed to make you more successful and valuable person, right? And notice how in the modern society, using very loosely, right, and making general assumption, you can see more and more people are comparing status. There's competition, right? Maybe it's already there for years, where you're supposed to do this and that at a certain age. You need to make 100Ks, or you need to have a beautiful wife, or have kids, cars, houses, all these things. And if you are like me, young adult, shit, I will not be young soon. I'm gonna be 24 this year, and there's a lot of pressure in needing to be successful, and most importantly is having something that I can make a living for. I often question what is my path, right? My career path, what should it be? And I spend a lot of times worrying everything, man. I mean, just think about 5 years ago and 5 years later, which now. Most of the thing that I worry is not happening yet, or will never happen. Who knows? Maybe it will happen tomorrow. But it's interesting how the mind, in a way, we are taught. I was taught to always think ahead, always plan ahead. Don't fuck up. Don't make mistake. But if you do reflect, just like the concept of yin and yang, you kind of can see or figure that what if it's opposite, right? For example, people tell you don't make mistake and don't fuck up because this and that, right? Consequences is permanent. So what if we turn it around and think it in a different way? And it's not to be like all positive and stuff. I'm not saying positive or it's good or bad, but it's more towards questioning the idea, the thoughts that we are, the belief as well that we are being imposed and implanted in us since we are a child, and we just carry it without questioning until we get old, and you know hopefully one day we will wake up and gain this consciousness and awareness to why are we doing what are we doing. You see a lot of things people tell you doing this or that, right? And in my journey, I believe that, in order to be successful, I need to do this or that, or I need to live a healthy life, or, cut off all the bad habit and all that. But I never really understand what is the motive, what is the reason that drives me to doing all these things to begin with. I mean, healthy lifestyle is not too difficult to act actually, but I think it's what within us that sort of make it feels hard to change, to act. It's like mental exhaustion. It's not just physical exhaustion. Sure, workout it's hard because you have to work your body and use a lot of energy, but I think what's harder it's the thoughts of wanting to do something, from wanting to becoming I should do this or that, and I think that's what stops us from moving forward. In my journey, I start to notice I am to this point where I start to realize that force and resistance just doesn't work for me anymore. And I'm also to a point where I cannot lie to myself. Why? Because I already see a lot of contradiction. When you have A and B, right? maybe you want B the most, but then you have A. So your mind trying to be like, actually A is quite good, right? We are better off with this one instead, isn't it? It's fancier and shit like that. Your mind says a lot of different things. But as soon as you obtain B, and it's just like, actually I wanted B this whole time. And I noticed this contradiction, and I really hate it because it's dishonest, And I realized I also put a lot of emphasis in being honest with myself, because honesty is the best thing to be, right? But I noticed this idea where honesty need to be 100% at all times also brings me a lot of pressure and anxiety, and it comes from shame. Is that if I don't be honest, then I am not a good person, I am not worthy, not valuable, I'm just being deceitful, I'm lying to my friend, to my family, to my life, I'm destroying myself or everyone else that involved, and that brings me a lot of struggle in everyday life. It's like everything I feel like I need to make the right choice, even if it's not related to me. Maybe I just see it from social media, whatever the fuck that is. So the point of sharing this video, I don't really have much idea in mind, but I thought having reflection is very important, because it really teach us in ways where how we are viewing the world and viewing ourselves this whole time may not be true, or more precisely does not align with us. So what works for others may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for others. And you probably experience this a lot in your life, where you try to please everyone else, and you shrink yourself, you shrink your worth, you lower down your value for the sake of making people happy. And that's also something I realized, that chasing and rushing this whole time, it doesn't bring me satisfaction nor happiness, because I always want more, I always need more, and I always feel like I'm running out of time. And it's just like, as I keep reflecting on myself, there's just more and more layers. It gets complicated, and I think maybe that's why a lot of people rather just push it away, because it affects your mood, it affects your mind, it affects indirectly on how you act later on, or directly. But I think it's important. The reason why I say I cannot lie to myself anymore is because of all this awareness, noticing how I feel, having two thoughts and feeling at the same time. I think it's commonly happening, and I struggle with, I need to pick one side, otherwise it's just something is wrong, right? I need to fix something. But I realized slowly that this journey is not about fixing things, actually. It's about knowing oneself, the fabric, the nature of oneself, who you are. And I think that's one of the hardest thing, right? I mean, because we live in society, we feel like we have to fit into everyone. I remember when I was younger, I get judged a lot as well for who I am as a person. I don't know if you're watching, you too experience like that. And it can be difficult. You feel like you're not being accepted. If you take science subject and you suck at it, you just feel like you're worthless, value. Just throw it away. But we also didn't realize that if you are good at art and you are at an art school, then things are different. Maybe everyone else suck, and all of a sudden you're like the top student. And we sort of tie our worth to all these external things. We believe that we make ourselves happy. But the fact is, the day we were born here, we have absolutely nothing. And the day we die, we have everything else we had. But we can't bring them with us while we're away. You make 100K, or you have 100 friends, 100. You have 1,000 friends, and yet At the end of the day, nothing goes with you. And it's not to be morbid and just be like, fuck life and just do anything destructive. But it's rather to be mindful and aware that, yes, life can be fragile. I could be making a video today and tomorrow something might happen to me. But I think all we need is to live in the present moment. And I start to feel that, honestly. I mean, after fucking 3 or 4 years of struggling, I do start to see that as well. With all the self-love, I can feel it more. I can slowly feel what it means to live at the present moment. And on a final note, it's not about I finally be happy. And I feel like this doesn't happen, you know. There is no finally happy actually, because to me, life is just a continuous journey. And it's not like I finally be happy right now and then the end. It's not a movie, right? And if you apply a movie on real life, you're probably dead at that point because black screen and gone. And the thing with life is there's so many aspects: family, friends, career, hobby, relationship, health, well-being, all these things. And it's not like it's going to be perfect. You know, your career might be advancing, but you might be losing friends. You may probably have no friend at all. You have that one last final friend and you just ended it. And maybe your family might be passing while you're having a new kids. I don't know, not to say it will happen, but as a metaphor, a possibility, you know. And I think it's quite interesting in Buddhism because it teaches us to see things as they are. And it's not easy because we try to control things, thinking that if life is the way I want it to be, then I will feel more peaceful. If there's no kids playing around every single day at certain time of the day, then I will feel more happy and more peace. And inner peace, maybe it's just not about having everything flawless, perfect, under your control, your condition. But I think inner peace means to live while everything else is happening, whether it's you're having pain at your back, a lot of noise outside right now. Maybe that's all it means to be and to live. And I know it's easy to say because, you know, when I have another channel recently and I make video game content, I also want to pick a quiet time. I even off my fan just for the sake of the quality, right? I don't buy a mic on my own because I thought it was too expensive. And whenever there's kids screaming, stomping the ground, or maybe prayer happen at that time, or my family member are talking, I feel disturbed. And as someone who with sensitive nature, it makes it harder because I can't bear with all these noises happening every single day. God forbid if I have to work in a crowded restaurant, man, I would go crazy. And so it's also my journey to discover who I am. And it's not just to force myself to fit in, because there is so many paths. Too much to a point where you feel like shit, man, where do I go? So no matter where I go, I just feel like I might fucked up, and then I just stay static at the end. But at the end, there are many choices. Now, not all choices gonna go with us, but we can do what we can while we're living. So yes, I want to buy a mic, for example, but it's expensive and I don't have a proper job yet. But that's something that limitation is what makes me creative in a way. Yes, it's struggling. I don't have aircon, so using fan means there's gonna be a lot of noise, and if I close it, it's gonna be hot. It's usually what I do when I'm recording. But I just thought this channel might as well just make it like an experience to just go with the flow. You know, no people are gonna watch, then fine, don't watch. It kind of become my digital diary at this point. It's kind of interesting because when I was planning to make a gaming channel, I thought about just making it random and goofy and low quality shit, like not take it serious. But then right now it's the vice versa, which I'm not taking serious with this channel anymore. I just want to share. No editing, no subtitle. You don't understand. That's your, that's your fucking problem now. But anyway, it was nice chilling with you, Hanson. It's wow, 16 minutes, man. That's crazy. And yeah, I've been spending some time just sitting with no phone and no music, just for a little bit, and it's quite peaceful in a way. You know, I just sit here and listening to this floor lamp sound and just learning to tolerate with all the noises that may come. God damn it. Was it struggling, man? Was it struggling? Until then, Hanson shall come with more knowledge and wisdom. And feel free to share yours as well, because, you know, at the end we all learn from one another, right? Kids learn from adult learn from kids, and old people. And yeah, see you guys next time. No more yay for you, man.